This is Gippsland FM, your community connection, and we are having a marvellous day today. It's been marvellous days for quite a few days now. Bit of early morning frost to keep those tootsies nice, or keep your tootsies nice and warm when you're heading out into that early morning frost. Tomorrow, pretty much the same thing. We've got a minimum of 5 degrees, 17 is going to be the maximum. There'll be some light winds, but it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. So get out there and walk around, enjoy, make the most of this wonderful region that we have. This is Business, Wealth and Mental Health, the show that explores how thriving businesses, wise financial management and peaceful relationships are better for your mental health. And today I have with me the lovely Sarah Chandler from Sip Savvy Bottles. We were having a bit of a talk about that. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
That's good. I'll just move the microphone a little bit closer to you so we can get you. Yeah, that'll be better. Give that a go. Say hello.
Is that better?
Yeah, it is much better. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Love having you in the studio. And because we've had a few chats and we mentioned in the pre-show, we're going to talk a little bit about resilience because you've got a bit of a story to tell of showing resilience, about getting out there and doing it and not letting adversity overcome struggles.
Yeah.
So take us back in that Wayback Machine. that silver. I know you deal a lot with comics. You'll understand the nerds out there. I consider myself a super nerd, so I can say that.
Yeah. That
Wayback Machine, that silver DeLorean that Doc Brown invented, hit 88 miles an hour. Tell us about the start where things got challenging.
Oh gosh. Well, I guess my whole life I feel like it's been a bit of a challenge. But when it comes to business, I originally started my business when my son was 3 months old, single mum. So I obviously wanted to be able to give him a good life. And throughout the last 9 years, there's been ups and downs and lots of different challenges along the way. And now here we are.
So you've got a child of 3 months. What drove you to want to start a small business?
It's interesting. I remember one day I saw something on Facebook and someone was talking about struggling to buy nappies for their child. And I never want to be in that position where I'd be struggling, like to buy and provide for him. So it was that driving force of being able to provide and I guess selfishly, in a way, not give up my lifestyle too.
So it's a lifestyle decision, but isn't starting a small business hard?
Oh, so hard.
So how are you going to have more time?
It's interesting because although starting a small business is hard, I'd gone from working 2 jobs before I had him. So I was a trade qualified baker. I would work nights baking and then I would go work at the chicken shop the rest of the time on the grill, earning extra money. So I guess I went from working 2 jobs to having this child that was sleeping all the time. Yeah. So back then, obviously, I had a lot more time on my hands and probably fumbled my way through starting the business.
So how did you decide on what sort of business? So Sip Savvy Bottles, and I got that right again. So.
You did. Funnily enough, that's not my first business. Okay. I have grown from, I used to do wine glasses with glitter on them and seal them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I would do, obviously, funny sayings. I would hand paint it and all of that. And then somebody one day suggested for me to buy this cutter called a Silhouette Cameo, and they're like, you can make stencils. Yeah. And I went, oh, that's a great idea. I never made stencils and I stopped doing the glassware and started doing car stickers.
Yeah. Okay.
And then from the car stickers, somehow we turned into me now doing tumblers and drinkware and sublimation. So
it was kind of an evolution. You had an idea. And was it always something that because it looks like the work that you do, you've got a lot of things that connect to, you're at Comic-Con recently. You've got a connection to Comic-Con as well?
Absolutely. I would class myself as a nerd. I've been playing
We're in good company. Here.
That's right. I've been playing video games since I can remember.
What's your favourite game?
League of Legends. Very old school.
Yeah, very
PC.
old school, that one.
I don't know. I still quite enjoy, I guess, that team camaraderie that you have from that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's still my.
That's favorite. A good point that you mentioned there, because when we're talking about mental health as well, is it overlooked now that people do get connection via video games, via online gaming, and that sort of thing? It might not be the traditional way people connect.
Yeah.
But do you find that you get that connection?
Absolutely. I've found from video games, one of my dearest friends is from Canada, and I actually met her playing a game on my phone. I would have been newly divorced. I would have been about 23 when I met her.
Yeah.
And it was called Valor, this one, and you would build up cities and you'd have troops and you'd have like guilds and you'd attack other guilds and other people's cities and take their cities.
See, a lot of people would think that's a more of a boys thing, but you're talking about what would traditionally be deemed a boy's game, but you're not a boy from looking at you.
Definitely not a boy. And yeah, her and I, she's very similar to me, even though she lives in Canada and she's over in Quebec.
Yeah, that's in Canada.
Yeah, in Canada, but over that French side. So French speaking, all of that, very girl's girl.
Yeah.
And yet here we are, we met playing with all the boys and attacking people, taking their cities. And yeah, throughout the years, obviously I've formed friendships with the games, and then throughout business, I have, Supernova earlier in the year, one of my closest friends from Queensland that I met we used to do mugs together.
Yeah.
Sell the same mugs, and I commented on hers one day telling her I loved her design, and we became friends.
Well, let's talk about that. So you're in a business that's selling the sippy bottles, not cups, bottles.
Well, I do still sell mugs, but not as much. Okay. Tumblers are my big thing now.
Yeah, so you're in this business selling the tumblers, and you've got someone else who's in that similar business selling the same thing. Now, a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are people out there that look at businesses from that, they go to the product and they don't like any competition, so to speak, air quotes for those that can't see me. But how have you found that camaraderie or the connection between people who are in the same business has helped your business?
I think because we support each other, obviously we will talk to each other about different things like designs that we're finding are working for us. And when we're having issues with machines, I remember years ago we'd have issues with this specific printer that would convert it. We had the same one, and we would have a lot of issues with this one printer. And we would sometimes talk for 3 hours trying to fix our printers, and it would always be at the same time.
Yeah.
So having someone that you could relate to those issues, or we brainstorm and we'll talk about what product should we do next, because obviously, like you said, there is, especially at the moment, it's a trending product. There's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
And even though I've been doing it for so long, we try and work out ways that we can set ourselves apart from everyone else, stay true to ourselves, and have a product that's different. So
it's interesting that you mentioned about staying true to yourself, because, I mean, from what I've seen out there with business, when you're true to yourself, you actually you don't attract everybody. But you're never going to attract everybody, are you? You're going to attract a client that resonates with your product if you're true to yourself. Have you found that as well?
Absolutely. And I find that especially with me doing the comic expos and all the cons, is that most of the patrons come in, want someone who actually has similar beliefs and enjoys similar things. And even the ones, for example, One Piece. I haven't watched One Piece, but it is a few of my friends' special interests and what they like. So I've learnt a lot from talking to them and listening to them. So then when someone's telling me about what they like about it, I can relate and still talk to them about it, even though it might not be what I enjoy watching.
So it is. So then you've got that connection.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
For the people out there, because it's the businesses that I know that are quite successful have that similar attitude. They have it's an abundance mentality. They don't see it as, I'm going to lose a customer. They see it as that as you talked about, you've got opportunity to grow. You're working together to find new ways that you can expand your product into markets while helping someone else do the same. Is that right?
Absolutely. And yeah, she came down to Supernova to help me, flew over from Brisbane, which then when she went home, she was able to then grow on and have some self-confidence for her to push herself out there further too, which I think was just fantastic. And
it also works, from what I understand as well, so what I've seen is that, with referrals as well. So you might have your niche, but people are looking for that connection. They might not connect with you, but you can refer them to somebody that might help. Do you do that as well?
Absolutely. And especially I do find that there is, I call it the clean girl aesthetic, the very, white background, beige images, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That aesthetic isn't me.
Yeah.
As we've talked about, I do the nerdy stuff. So I will tend to then send people there, especially if I just can't get a grasp on what they're after.
Yeah.
So, because I like to design my own stuff as much as I can. So then when I'm designing and printing it, if I'm not connected to it, I feel like it's not going to be my best work.
And when you were starting your business, what were some of the things that you found, if you were to go back and do it again, you go, well, I wish I knew that. What are those learning lessons you give? If you could go back and tell an earlier Sarah and say, this is something to be wary of, and if you do it slightly different, it'll be much easier for you.
I think for me, it would have probably been about halfway, actually. My business blew up at one point. It got really big really fast.
Yeah.
And I was getting a lot of online trolling and a lot of online hate. And I let that affect me a lot. I wish that I had probably done a lot of things different there. I didn't have to keep pushing the website. I could have paused. Being like, this is my order cap. We're going to do these orders. Then I'll come back. And, rather than feeling, I guess, almost a people pleasing if I have to keep taking the orders. So then I was working 16-hour days and still getting death threats.
Well, when you're dealing with the comic people, you really need to make sure.
Well, they were great. They've been fine. So it was interesting. I was one of the first few businesses that was doing a lot of the inappropriate, sassy quotes and swear words and all of that.
Oh, okay.
When that got really big. And there's two businesses that are still doing that have done amazing. One of them I know is overseas and everything now too. I didn't have the know-how to market myself the way they do.
Right.
And they were outsourcing.
Right.
And whilst I never outsourced. And I think that probably added to my burnout.
Yeah.
So looking back at that, and for me, I didn't want to be that big. I wanted to stay true to myself, and it didn't fill my cup. So I took some time off, kind of niched down, redirected myself to where I am now.
Let's talk about that, because you say you didn't want to be that big. And I know that from a number of business people that I've worked with. Yeah. They've got really big really quickly. It's been detrimental to their family, those kind of things. And then they've scaled back and they're going, actually, I'm comfortable with this. And I have a friend that I know. He's got his business. He turns over a couple of million. That's all he wants. Yeah. He has 3 employees. He goes and plays golf most days. And he has the potential to grow much bigger, but he just doesn't want to. How do you find that within yourself to actually go, this is what's right for me?
I think for me it was always about the work-life balance. And I guess I don't even know how I'd word it.
Yeah.
I guess for me, I don't want to be a big company where I'm, again, not having that connection with people. I think a lot of it for me is the connections.
The personal touch.
Yeah.
So when you were starting your business, let's go back to that.
Yeah.
And now it sounds like what you're talking about is aligning your business with your values.
Yeah.
How much of that awareness, would you take back and go, I probably need to get clear on what my values are, what my boundaries are?
Absolutely. But I guess then we go back to mental health too. I've done a lot of growth and I am such a different person to what I was back then that I probably didn't even know my values back then.
Yeah.
I was a lot of a people pleaser back then. I would do basically, someone would say jump, I'd say how high, and I would do everything for everyone else, not myself. Whilst now I set clear boundaries and I know my values and my morals and where I stand. So I think, it would have to be a whole different Sarah back when I started the business to now.
And how important is it, when you're talking about the customers that you have, of looking after them, giving them the customer service? Because I'm comparing this to when you go out and it takes a lot of effort to get a customer. And I find a lot of businesses that I've dealt with, they'll spend all this effort getting customers, but they won't look after them once they've got that customer and think about the lifetime value of the customer. How important have you found that in your business?
It's massive. Customer retention is a huge thing for me. It's interesting. I've had some customers that have turned into friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder with that professional boundary on.
Come for drinks. Buy some sippy bottles.
Yeah, this is it. But I've found that, yeah, over the years I've had some customers that have turned into friends. And then I have other customers that, yeah, I've been able to retain them for future orders. They might have ordered one product and then obviously they've come back and bought bulk orders later or whatnot. And for me, those repeat customers are where I kind of build my business. I love to give myself. So yeah. I like to be able to help people be able to give to other people with the perfect gift.
Yeah.
That was a lot of gifts.
That's right.
So, yeah, I like to focus on the customer retention, that people know they can come to me and I can help support them on whatever they've dreamed up.
Is there any specific strategies that you have that you use to actually make your customers feel that you appreciate them?
I think a lot of it's listening, especially face-to-face. As we know, I do a lot of markets.
Yeah.
Again, I would say that a lot of my customers and clientele are neurodiverse or queer or from those different kind of cultures and backgrounds that perhaps they sometimes do get overlooked or not listened to. So I do find that I'll have sometimes people that will come and talk to me for 40 minutes about something that, you know, might not be my cup of tea, but I will give them that attention if I don't have other customers.
Well, they do say that about our, our biology or the way we're structured. We have two ears and one mouth.
Yeah.
And so you find that just that listening is you're not talking about any sales pitches or anything like that. You're just engaging in a conversation, listening to what they've got to say. Is that right?
Absolutely. I remember one market actually I did. This gentleman ended up in my store. I don't even know how. And I just had normal chats. And he said I was the first person in the market that had acknowledged him and had that chat with him.
Yeah.
So then he ended up buying like 4 items because I had engaged with him. And I was absolutely flabbergasted because to me, that's just what you do.
But isn't that true, though, when you put that out there first? A lot of people saying, what are you going to give me? What are you going to give me? What are you going to buy from me? But you're not. You're saying, how can I help you? And say, well, that's what I'm getting from
Yeah,
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Were you born with that, or did you learn that, or how did you, get that approach to business? Because it's not. We have, I think, a Hollywood approach, or a Hollywood vision of what business is like, which is all cutthroat. But from my experience, it's not like that at all. Actually, at the top end, it's all about what you're talking about is caring for others.
Yeah, I think my trauma probably contributes.
Your
to
trauma?
My trauma, definitely.
How did that come about?
Childhood trauma. So I have PTSD from childhood.
Yeah.
So lots of trauma.
Yeah.
I was out of home at 16 and I have no contact with my family now. So there's a lot that is complex with that.
But wouldn't it be, when you're in that situation, wouldn't it be that more you're the one that needs to be listened to, but yet you're listening to others?
It's interesting. I've been doing a bit of research about parentification and things like that lately, and they find that children in those sort of environments, especially if their needs aren't being met, they tend to kind of shut down and listen to other people's needs and feed into their needs, because I guess you get an attention. It's a sort of an attention back, isn't it? Because you're helping someone else. So then they're kind of grateful, I guess, in a way. So I think it's come from that.
So what you're saying is a big adversity that you faced earlier on in life has actually become a blessing in the operation of your business.
Absolutely, yeah.
How would someone develop that? This attitude of listening.
I guess I don't even know. That's a hard one. I guess sometimes we just need to really be present, don't we? And I guess that's it. Being present and listening. And you never know what you can learn from someone from listening.
Yeah.
I find I can get some weird and wonderful facts along the way from having conversations. But I guess just being present and stopping. I feel like we're always go, go, go. Sometimes if we take that time out and stop, then we would be listening, wouldn't we?
We do need to take that time out and stop, I think.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your business. Tell us where people find you. What are the products you offer? Give It's your turn to pitch yourself here live on radio.
And I struggle at the pitching. I'm actually building my website at the moment. I do have one on that's connected to my Facebook, but I'm working on doing a whole new website at the moment.
Yeah. I'm
on obviously all social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Not that I feel I'm very active on them at the best of times. But I tend to post on them where I am if I'm in a market. And obviously I do my tumblers, which keep your drinks hot for 6 hours, cold for 12, which is a really good selling point.
Yeah. That was a long time. You would hope it's not too warm a day if it's going to last for 12 hours.
Well, I take mine overseas. Ooh. As you know, I like to travel. Yes. So especially places like Bali and stuff, when we're over there, I like to have mine there. Yeah. Because you're going for a walk down the street and your stuff's already getting hot. So.
Do you get many comments? Because your cups, your tumblers, I've got, Doctor Who version of Daleks, and it's really cool. Is that, do you get a lot of attention when people, and you're having got that in your hand, do people point it out and notice it? Or
it's funny, sometimes yes, sometimes no. I guess it depends on how I'm presenting to, maybe, if I'm carrying it out. And that the one I currently use the most of the time is a glitter one. So obviously the glitter picks up on the sun, so people notice that a lot. Yep. Especially if I take it to like any of the school events and stuff too, everyone then gets a bit chatty about, oh, what's that? Yeah. But I find when we're away, not so much. Yeah. I guess everyone's so busy over there, aren't they?
Well, that's true. And when you go out, you're at a lot of the markets. Where can people catch you at markets?
Well, I'm at Glengarry every month, which is where we met. Yeah. And at the moment for my monthly markets, I'm kind of looking at new ones and trying to find some good set markets for monthly. Bunyip's another one that I've just picked up that I'm doing monthly, which is really good. They're doing a great job down there. Yeah. It's another one, very similar ethos to Glengarry. Yep. I'm currently moving back Gippsland at the moment. As you know, I've been on the cusp. Yep. So trying to find more that are more Gippsland based.
Fantastic.
So it's just, at the moment, it's hard.
And when we're talking about for someone out there that might be craft orientated or have a little talent that they've got, that are looking at starting a market like that, but they're feeling kind of stuck, how much of that you actually being creative helped with your own mental health and taking care of yourself and feeling good about yourself?
Heaps. For me, crafting is, I guess, a form of self-care. Yeah. And for my mental health, it's huge. And I guess, again, because I make things that bring me joy, and then it's that circle. And I get a lot of joy then when somebody else likes what I've made because, again, that circle. And I guess talking to people again and people who will then resonate, and you're like, I'm not alone. Because I have people that will open up to me that I've never met before and tell me about their mental health struggles and things like that at markets and all of that.
So you're kind of a therapist as well as you're all in one. Yeah.
So I guess I am studying to be one though.
Yeah, you're studying as well as running a small business.
Yeah, and I'm studying psychology, so... Yeah.
Are you going to use that to help with your sales, you think?
I don't at the moment, but I wonder if I should be. Yeah, I do find, and I guess just that camaraderie and support with other small businesses. It's interesting because, like you said before, there's a divide. There's the ones that are cutthroat and all for themselves, and then there's the ones that all support each other. Yeah. So finding the people that are supportive has helped with my mental health a lot too.
That's fantastic. So, we've got to go shortly, but before we do, what's your one piece of wisdom that you would like to leave the audience with?
I guess stay true to yourself and do what makes you happy. Like, you will, especially if you're starting your own crafting business, you will have a lot of white noise and a lot of opinions. Just making sure that you do what brings you joy.
Fantastic. Sarah Chandler from Sip Savvy Bottles. Pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.